Before we get started, I'm just going to say from here on out, this entire video is a spoiler. So we don't have to keep saying spoiler. If you've not read the book or seen the movie and don't want to know what's going to happen or what has happened, don't watch any further. Come back when you have. I don't feel that bad. The book has been out 28 years. So, and I figure if you're going to see the movie and you're the least bit excited about it, you've read the book. But anyway, there's our public service announcement. Spoilers. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Greg. He's Q, together with Mr. Happy0121, and today we're here to review The Killing Joke. Batman, The Killing Joke. One of us read this book 28 years ago for the first time. One of us read this book 12 hours ago for the first time. I'll let you guess who. If he read it 28 years ago, that would be amazing.
That would be really cool.
That would be very amazing. Before we get to the movie, you, for the first time ever, read this book. Not really a comic book reader, so you came to it fresh. What'd you think of it?
I liked it. Especially like the stuff he was talking about with like the meaninglessness of life and struggling and how everything's kind of a big joke because it really doesn't matter. At some point he kind of gets into that.
It's a little deep for a kid's book.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Make no mistake, this wasn't a kid's book in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so you went to this movie tonight with this fresh on your mind. And for those of you wondering, when we say we went to the movie, we actually went and sat in a movie theater and watched The Killing Joke. They had what started as a one-day showing. I guess they sold so many tickets, they did a two-day. Even as we're making this, that movie is now going on sale on iTunes, and then next week it's going to go to DVD. So, the movie itself. We're going to give you the good, we're going to give you the bad, and no, I'm not going to sing the Facts of Life theme song after that. I don't even know if he gets the joke.
I don't.
But we're going to give you the good, we're going to give you the bad, and then maybe the in-between. Okay, on to the movie itself. What did you think of the movie itself in a vacuum?
I really liked the way it looked. It didn't look all like silly and like cartoonish like the Batman, like other Batman animated series.
Yeah, it did not look like Batman the animated series, and it didn't look like any other Batman I've ever seen. I liked it. I would say the best animated looking Batman I've ever seen, personally. Myself, I think actually talking in the car on the way home, you liked the movie itself a little more than I did. But the movie had an unfair reputation to live up to with me. I've read this book for 28 years. I was telling you I've probably taken it out and read it at least once a year. I have it almost memorized. Or I wanted this movie to be this book, which we'll get into why it couldn't. So the good for you was the way the animation looked, the overall storyline, things of that nature.
Yeah. For
me, the voice work was excellent. I thought this was Mark Hamill's best Joker performance to date. I thought he was really on point.
Hey, this is kind of random, but wasn't he in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
He was Cockknocker.
Yeah.
Yes, which was a takeoff on his Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Before they played this movie, and I'm sure it'll be on the DVD release, they actually started with a small intro by him, probably about a 5-minute thing, talking about how he went from being Luke Skywalker to being the Joker. Kevin Conroy, excellent as always. A lot of the themes in this movie really needed those two voices. And just like Mark Hamill, who had done the Joker in a cartoony way for the animated series, Kevin Conroy, of course, the ultimate Batman, I felt stepped up his game in this, and it didn't feel out of place, or it didn't feel like you were expecting him to turn back into the animated Batman. It felt real. Very good acting. Now, I'll give you some of the bad. Did you have any bad for this movie?
Yeah, I feel like the end wasn't done very well. I feel like the end is way better in the book than it is in the movie, and that's about all the bad I got.
Here's where we get into the spoilers. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the final frame, and I'm not using my first printing edition that I have put away in a vault. I'm getting this from the Alan Moore Greatest Hits of DC, basically. The final images in the book are of the Batman and Joker, with Batman with his hands on the Joker's shoulders. You see and hear rain and laughter, and then there's a single yellow beam of light that goes dark. In the movie, they didn't convey that Batman had actually killed the Joker. Now, there are people that will argue this till they're blue in the face with me. They did the one obvious thing that you couldn't do in the book. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, the Joker tells Batman a joke that's not funny. And the entire reason Batman laughs at the joke is he has one bad day and he mentally slips. He goes into the abyss which they beat over the head when he's talking to Barbara Gordon earlier in the movie. He's saying, you can go too far. Well, at this point, that's to signify he went too far. He puts his hands on the Joker, and you both hear them laughing, and then the camera pans down, and then you don't hear the Joker laugh anymore. There are people that have never understood that the fact that this is called the Killing Joke is because Batman kills him. In the book itself, there's a ray of light that you see that kind of represents the line that Batman wouldn't cross. Plus, it's like the light of the Joker's life. And then suddenly the light goes out. And all you see is the rain and you hear silence. Which is like a real reinforcement that Batman's killed the Joker. I understand that they wanted to keep it vague, but there were people in the theater that had no point of reference for what they were seeing, and I could hear people go, what the hell was that?
Literally, someone said something like,
what happened?
Yeah.
They just didn't understand it. That really is a minor complaint to me because it was maybe the last 20 seconds of the movie, and you two having the foresight of having read the book, you knew it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going to a theater or even buying this dry and not knowing what you're getting into. It's just foreign to me. My big complaint about this is the fact that it felt to me like they had to spend an extra 30 minutes justifying what Batman was going to do by creating an unnecessary relationship with Barbara Gordon. In this movie, he has sex on a rooftop with Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. And I guess that's supposed to push him just a little further over the edge, as if the fact that his good friend Barbara Gordon shot, beaten, possibly raped, pictures taken of her father, his good friend, stripped naked, shown pictures, and treated like an animal, wasn't enough to push Batman just far enough. They figured we need to give that the little extra where her and Batman had sex. So that's my bad, as I didn't need the extra 30 minutes. I told you when we walked out, if they would have just done the book and it would have been 30 minutes long, it would have been worth the $10 to me just to see what I wanted to see.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That kind of portion before, it seemed kind of like I can't say the word.
Superfluous?
Yes.
Something like that?
Word. Something like that.
Too much. It seemed
too much,
extra.
Way too much, yeah.
It felt like they put it on there for a couple of reasons. I think that there's been heat in retrospect that they took a character that was strong like Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, and there are people that say that she was diminished by how easily the Joker dispatched her and then how he treated her. He made her a victim. I think it felt like this first 30 minutes of this movie was an apology and a justification for Batman to do what he did and for them to say, look, we're showing you that she wasn't a victim, but the way this story was structured, she was a victim, and that was it. Even the end, they even tacked on the part where she becomes Oracle, and that's all great. That all does happen later, but for the strict confines of this story, people are victims. Whether they're women or men, it happens. And that was kind of what made it really so chilling about the Joker, was there was no justification, no warning. In this story, it was just a character opens the door that you know, and he shoots her and severs her spine. I just really felt like they built too much up of this to justify what they were doing. Because in the 80s, I guess people weren't so sensitive and didn't need justification for shit. They would just do what you saw in that book.
Awesome.
I do feel, though, after you and I talked in the car, I said I gave it a B-. I'm going to bump it up to a B. I think I was a little hard on it just purely because it wasn't the exact vision I wanted. And sometimes when you're too close to something, if it's not the same exact thing, people can't quite get with it. And maybe I'm too close to this to see how good it was. What was your opinion of the movie? What grade do you give it?
A 90. I really liked it.
I'm going to go from like an 80 to like an 84, 85. It's good. There were points in it that were worth seeing. The Joker up on his throne, Batman and the Joker face to face, different things. The Joker in the Hawaiian shirt. These are images that I've lived with like for most of my life that I've always wanted to see come to life.
Point. That's cool.
And to see it, or when he first becomes the Joker and he cracks and he comes up and his face is... In the movie, they did this cool colorization thing where it wasn't like full-on color and you just kind of see him go insane. There were parts of it really well done. But again, I feel like Alan Moore always gets the shaft. I feel like a lot of this diluted his vision of what it was and what he did. If you watch the movie, great. But at some point, if you've never read the book, you owe it to yourself. He had a vision that he carried through with. It takes a lot of balls to make Batman kill the Joker in a mainstream book and DC not catch on to it for 25 years. He got away with it. So, all in all, I'm glad we went. Before we go, I have a recommendation. My problem, I said, with this was that they diluted the movie a little bit too much for my taste. There is an animated Batman movie out there that did not dilute one bit. Literally went panel for panel from the movie to the book to the book to the movie. So, for those of you that haven't seen Batman The Dark Knight Returns, based on the Frank Miller book, I think the Frank Miller book actually beat The Killing Joke by a couple years.
Really?
First graphic novel I ever read as a kid was The Dark Knight Returns. A true classic. So, both parts are on Blu-ray out there. Go check it out. And then, get to Killing Joke. Tell us what you think. As we make this, we're going to put it up in just a few minutes. You'll have, maybe by the time you see this, a few of you one day to go watch this in a movie theater. I would still recommend you go see this movie in a movie theater. How about you?
Yeah, I would recommend that.
Anytime you can see something like this on a big screen, makes all the difference, especially with a crowd. It's weird to hear what people laugh at or are uncomfortable. What makes people uncomfortable. It's just weird to see the audience dynamic on something like this.
Yeah, it is. Like, most of the people laughed every time the Joker said, like, a corny little joke.
And I think a lot of that, people laugh sometimes at stuff like that because they feel uncomfortable with what he's saying. And some of what the Joker was saying was very uncomfortable, especially when he's taking pictures of a naked, crippled woman.
That he crippled.
So, yeah, I thought some of the laughter it wasn't like the bad kind of laughter where they're laughing because it was bad. I think it was more like uncomfortable laughter in places, which is good, I guess. If you're making people uncomfortable, that was the point. All right. I think we're good here. And now, as we've rambled at this point, over 13 minutes, you see why we don't do many movie reviews. Although, most movies we don't have this much to say about. Anything coming up that we're going to review? I can't think of anything good on the horizon.
The Ghostbusters movie, aren't we going to check that out?
You know what we'll do? We'll be back here to review Suicide Squad. Let's do that.
All right.
Suicide Squad will be the next one. That's all we got. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Over here on the Mr. Dark channel, we need some subscriptions. Help a couple brothers out. Help get us to 2,000. As always, you can find us on social media, Mr. Happy0121. Just search in any platform. You'll find us. We're everywhere. Until next time.
Stay vigilant.